9 things you must face alone. There are 9 battles that will determine the entire quality of your life, and you will fight every single one of them completely alone, whether you are ready or not. Not alone in the sense of the absence of people who care about you. The most surrounded, most loved, most genuinely supported person alive will fight these 9 battles in the same complete solitude as the person who has no one. Because these 9 battles are not fought in the space between you and the world. They are fought in the space between you and yourself, in the private, unwitnessed, completely interior territory that no other person has genuine access to, where no amount of love, support, encouragement, or company can substitute for the specific, individual, completely personal quality of what you alone bring to the encounter. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding the recognition of this fact. They build the structures, the relationships, the communities, the busy schedules, the continuous noise and stimulation that make the encounter with the 9 battles feel postponable, feel manageable, feel like something that will be addressed in a different season, under more favorable circumstances, with more preparation, with more of the external support that the internal battles have convinced them they need before they can genuinely engage. The battles are not postponable. They are happening right now in the specific, private, completely interior territory of every human life, regardless of whether the person inhabiting that life is engaging with them deliberately or managing around them reflexively. And the quality of the engagement, deliberately chosen or reflexively avoided, is the specific thing that determines the quality of everything the life eventually produces. The Stoics were the first and the most rigorous philosophers of the specific interior battles that every human being faces alone. Not as the celebration of isolation or the rejection of genuine human connection, as the honest, completely clear-eyed recognition that the most important work of a human life is the work that no one else can do for you, and that the quality of your engagement with that work is the quality of your life. Today, on the Stoic Mindset, we are going into all 9 of them, completely, honestly, with every practical dimension that the genuine engagement with each one actually requires. There was a Roman senator named Publius Clodius Thrasea Pietus, known to history simply as Thrasea, who became in the final years of Nero's reign one of the most powerful moral examples in all of Roman history. Not because of anything he said publicly. The political environment of late Nero had made public statement not only futile, but specifically dangerous. Not because of anything he built or led or organized. The conventional routes of the political and philosophical influence were closed to him in the specific, targeted way that Nero's paranoia consistently produced in the people whose independent judgment made them threats. Because of how he lived, privately, daily, in the specific interior, completely unwitnessed quality of the person who was engaged, genuinely, completely, without the audience to confirm the engagement, with the 9 battles that this lesson is about.
When Nero's agents finally came for him, when the death sentence that had been building for years in the political atmosphere of the late reign finally arrived in the formal, procedural, completely official form of the imperial order, Thrasea was found in his garden. He had been expecting it. He was not surprised. And the specific, visible, completely reported quality of his reception of the news, the warmth, the settledness, the specific lack of the performance of courage that would itself have been a form of the anxiety it was trying to conceal, was the quality that everyone present described with the same word: ready. Not ready in the sense of the person who has prepared the dramatic performance of the philosophically composed death, ready in the specific, completely genuine, totally interior quality of the person who had been fighting the 9 battles, daily, privately, without audience, and who had arrived at the moment of the death sentence having genuinely engaged with every one of them. His son-in-law asked him what he was thinking in the specific, quiet moments after the sentence was delivered. He said, "I am thinking that I have already done the most difficult work. The rest is simply its expression. The most difficult work, already done." In the private, interior, completely unwitnessed battles that no one saw but that produced the specific quality that everyone present felt when the sentence arrived, The 9 battles we are going to discuss today are the most difficult work, and the rest, everything visible, everything external, everything that the world sees and measures and responds to, is simply their expression. The first thing you must face alone is your own darkness. Not the metaphorical darkness, the specific, completely interior, honestly faced darkness of the particular human being you actually are. The impulses, the fears, the specific angers and griefs and envies and self-deceptions that the comfortable self-image has been managing around rather than genuinely engaging with, and that the honest examination consistently reveals as genuinely present in the specific interior of the specific person doing the examining. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the specific, accumulated, completely personal collection of the qualities that the self cannot accept in itself and has therefore pushed below the threshold of the conscious self-image. The Stoics called it the unexamined interior, the specific, genuinely present, genuinely consequential qualities of the actual self that the performed self has been consistently, effectively, and expensively concealing from the honest examination. The concealment is expensive in the most practical, most immediately relevant sense available. Every quality of the actual self that has not been honestly examined continues to govern the actual behavior from the territory below the threshold of the conscious self-image. The unexamined impulse does not disappear because it has not been examined. It operates invisibly, producing the specific, recurring, consistently destructive patterns that the person is experiencing as coming from outside themselves rather than from the unexamined territory within. The facing of the own darkness is the specific, courageous, genuinely necessary practice of going into that unexamined territory with the honest, non-defensive, completely non-punishing quality of the genuine examination and looking at what is actually there. Not to condemn it,
not to perform the shame that the social environment considers the appropriate response to the discovery of the genuinely dark, but to see it, specifically, honestly, with the complete non-dramatic quality of the person who is more interested in the accurate picture than the comfortable one. Marcus Aurelius did this every day in the Meditations. The private journals reveal a man who was engaged, daily, honestly, without the audience, in the genuine facing of his own darkness, the specific impatience that he recognized as recurring and genuinely problematic, the specific temptations toward the comfortable self-deception that he caught in the act of producing the rationalization, the specific angers, the specific griefs, the specific envies that the Emperor of Rome experienced in the private interior that no political dignity could eliminate and that no amount of the performed philosophical composure could substitute for the genuine engagement with. He did not suppress what he found. He examined it. The examination, specific, honest, genuinely non-punishing, produced the specific, practical, completely forward-looking information about what the genuine development required. Not the shame of the finding, but the specific, practical, completely useful knowledge of what was actually there and what the genuine engagement with what was actually there required. Face your own darkness, tonight, in the specific, honest, completely non-punishing quality of the genuine examination. Not to condemn what you find, to see it clearly, because the clear seeing of the actual interior is the specific, most foundational prerequisite for the genuine development of the genuine excellent character that the examined life produces. The second thing you must face alone is the complete reality of your own mortality, not the intellectual acknowledgement that death is inevitable. That acknowledgement is easy, available, and produced automatically by anyone who is asked about it in the comfortable, abstract, philosophical sense. The specific, visceral, completely personal reckoning with the fact that you specifically, in the specific body you specifically inhabit, are going to die in a genuinely finite, genuinely unknown, genuinely approaching time frame, and that the days being spent in the ways they are currently being spent are the days that are the actual content of the actual finite life. The Stoics called the practice of this reckoning memento mori, remember that you will die. They returned to it constantly. Marcus Aurelius meditated on it regularly. Seneca wrote about it with a frequency and an urgency that reveals how seriously he took the specific, practical, clarifying power of the genuine reckoning with the finite. Epictetus made it a central practice of the philosophical life, not because the thought of death is pleasant, not because the genuine reckoning with mortality produces the comfortable feeling that the avoidance of it provides, because the genuine reckoning, the specific, visceral, completely personal facing of the finite quality of the actual life, is the most powerful available tool for the clarification of what genuinely matters, what the finite time should genuinely be spent on, what the finite time is currently being spent on, and the specific, enormous, frequently devastating gap between these two that the comfortable avoidance of the genuine reckoning has been keeping invisible. Thrasea had faced this alone,
Completely, genuinely, without the comfortable management of the proximity of the death that the political reality of his era had made impossible to avoid. And the genuine facing, daily, privately, in the specific, honest, completely unglamorous quality of the person who is reckoned genuinely with the finite, produced the specific readiness that the people present at his death sentence described. The readiness was not the product of the dramatic moment of the death sentence. It was the product of the years of the genuine reckoning that preceded the dramatic moment. The daily, private, completely interior practice of the person who has genuinely faced what he was going to face, and who therefore arrived at the facing of it, having already, genuinely, not performed, done the most difficult work. Face your mortality, not once, daily, in the specific, genuine, completely personal quality of the reckoning that produces the clarifying honesty about what the finite time is genuinely for, and what the current use of the finite time actually reveals about whether the genuine values and the actual daily choices are genuinely aligned. The third thing you must face alone is the specific, complete, honestly assessed quality of your own choices and their consequences. Not the comfortable story about your choices, the specific, self-serving, completely understandable narrative that the psychological self-protection consistently produces, in which the choices that produced the favorable outcomes were the product of the genuine values, and the choices that produced the unfavorable ones were the product of the external circumstances that anyone in your position would have been subject to. The honest account. The specific, non-defensive, completely real assessment of the choices you have made and the consequences those choices have produced, and the genuine relationship between the choosing and the consequence that the honest examination consistently reveals. The genuine account does not assign all responsibility to the self for every outcome. The Stoics were never naive about the genuine role of circumstance in the outcomes of human lives. But it does the specific, courageous, genuinely necessary practice of taking the responsibility that is genuinely yours, rather than the comfortable minimum that the self-protective narrative consistently leaves. Epictetus was the most uncompromising of the Stoics on this point. He had been enslaved. He had experienced the specific, genuine, completely real circumstances of a life in which the external control over the basic conditions of existence was total and explicit. And his response to this, the response that made him one of the most influential philosophers in the history of Western thought, was the specific, radical, completely non-naive acceptance of the responsibility that was genuinely his within the circumstances that were genuinely not his. He could not choose his enslavement. He could choose, specifically, daily, with the full quality of the genuine examined will, what he did with his thinking, his values, his character, his philosophical engagement within the enslavement. And the choosing of what was genuinely his to choose, rather than the comfortable management of the narrative that emphasized what was genuinely not his to choose, was the specific, daily, completely interior practice of the person who is facing the honest account of his own choices and their consequences.
Face the honest account, not the comfortable story. The specific, non-defensive, genuinely courageous assessment of the choices you have made, and the consequences those choices have produced, and the genuine relationship between them. Not to punish yourself for the choices that produce the unfavorable consequences. To build the specific, practical, genuinely forward-looking understanding of what the genuine, excellent choices in the actual life actually require. The fourth thing you must face alone is the specific, personal, completely individual quality of your own failure. Not the failure in the abstract, the intellectual understanding that failure is a part of the human experience and that all genuinely excellent people have experienced it. The specific, personal, completely individual failure that is yours. The specific project that failed. The specific relationship that collapsed. The specific ambition that the genuine reality has not confirmed. The specific version of yourself that you were going to become and that the actual life has not, so far, produced. The facing of the personal failure is one of the most consistently avoided of the 9 battles, because the facing of the personal failure requires the specific, vulnerable, genuinely uncomfortable quality of sitting with the gap between the aspired and the actual. The specific, honest, completely real recognition of the distance between the life that was intended and the life that has been produced, without the management strategies that the comfortable avoidance of the genuine facing consistently provides. The management strategies are available, sophisticated, and immediately useful for the avoidance of the genuine facing. The externalizations, the specific assignment of the failure to the external circumstances that anyone in the same situation would have experienced. The minimizations, the specific reframing of the failure as the learning experience or the necessary detour or the wisdom producer that converts the genuine cost of the failure into the comfortable narrative of the growth it produced. The future projection, the specific deferral of the honest assessment of the failure to the future moment when the compensating success will have been produced and the failure will be viewable from the comfortable distance of the subsequent achievement. All of these are available. All of them work in the short term. All of them are expensive in the long term because they consistently prevent the specific, genuine, practically valuable engagement with the actual failure that the genuine honest facing alone produces. The genuine facing of the personal failure produces the specific, practical, completely non-available from the comfortable avoidance information about what the failure is actually teaching about the actual self in the actual circumstances. The specific, honest, genuinely forward-looking understanding of what was not adequate and what the adequate would have required and what the development of the adequate requires from this specific point. Face your failures. Specifically, honestly, with the complete, non-punishing, genuinely forward-looking quality of the person who is more interested in what the failure genuinely teaches than in the management of the narrative that makes the failure most comfortable to inhabit. The fifth thing you must face alone is the specific, complete, genuinely honest assessment of your own mediocrity. This one is the most consistently avoided of the 9 battles and the most consistently expensive of the avoidances, because the genuine facing of the personal mediocrity, the specific, honest, completely non-flattering assessment of the actual quality, of the actual work, the actual character, the actual expression of the genuine values in the actual daily choices is the specific, most immediately uncomfortable quality of the self-examination that the examined life requires. The comfortable self-image is organized in significant part around the protection of the self from the genuine recognition of the specific areas where the actual quality of the actual expression falls significantly short of the standard that the genuine excellent emperor and the genuine excellent philosopher and the genuine excellent father and the genuine excellent human being would have produced. Not to condemn himself, to see clearly. Because the clear seeing is the specific, most immediately practical prerequisite for the genuine development that the genuine excellent life requires. Face your mediocrity. In the specific areas where the honest examination reveals the specific gap between the actual quality and the genuine standard. Without the protection of the comfortable self-image that converts the genuine recognition of the gap into the comfortable story that the gap is smaller than the honest examination has found it. And let the honest facing produce the specific, practical, genuinely forward-looking engagement with what the genuine development in those specific areas requires.
The sixth thing you must face alone is your own loneliness. Not the loneliness of the absence of people, the structural, circumstantial loneliness of the person who is genuinely isolated from genuine human connection. The specific, deeper, completely interior loneliness that is present, often most intensely present, in the most surrounded, most socially connected, most apparently companioned lives. The loneliness of the self that has never been fully seen. The loneliness of the values that have never been fully expressed. The loneliness of the genuine interior that has been performing the socially appropriate version of itself for so long that the performance has begun to feel more real than the genuine thing it was performing for. The loneliness of the person who is in the room with people and is experiencing underneath the social performance the specific, private, completely interior quality of the person who is fundamentally alone with the specific, complex, genuinely individual experience of being exactly this specific person. This loneliness is universal. Every Stoic philosopher who wrote honestly about the interior life described it, not as the pathological condition of the isolated or the damaged, as the fundamental, completely normal, completely inevitable feature of the genuinely individual interior experience that every genuine human being inhabits alone. The facing of this loneliness is not the management of it, the filling of the quiet with the continuous, available, completely effective distraction that prevents the genuine encounter with the interior experience. The facing is the genuine, patient, completely non-dramatic sitting with the specific quality of the interior experience as it actually is, including its loneliness, including the specific, individual, completely personal quality of being the only person who genuinely inhabits the specific interior that you inhabit. And the genuine facing of the genuine loneliness, the honest, patient, completely non-managed encounter with the specific quality of the interior experience, produces something that the continuous management of it consistently prevents, the genuine familiarity with the genuine self. The specific, warm, completely real quality of the person who has sat with their own interior long enough and honestly enough to have developed the genuine relationship with the genuine self that the genuine self-knowledge requires. Seneca described this quality with a warm, specific, completely genuine care. He said that the person who cannot be alone with themselves, who fills every quiet with the noise that prevents the genuine encounter with the interior, has not yet met themselves in the specific, complete, completely real way that the genuine encounter with the genuine loneliness makes possible. And the person who has not yet met themselves has not yet found the one relationship that is the most foundational for the quality of every other relationship they will ever inhabit. Face your loneliness in the genuine, patient, completely non-managed quality of the genuine sitting with the interior experience as it actually is, and discover that the genuine facing of the genuine loneliness produces the most important relationship available, the genuine relationship with the genuine self. The seventh thing you must face alone is the complete, specific, honestly assessed reality of your own fear.
Not the fear of specific, identifiable external threats. That fear is the appropriate physiological and psychological response to the genuine danger that the genuine external world consistently produces. The deeper fear, the specific, interior, completely personal fear of the particular things that the particular person you are finds most threatening to the particular interior that you inhabit. The fear of genuine failure at the thing that genuinely matters most. The fear of the genuine exposure of the genuine self in the genuine relationships that the genuine self most genuinely values. The fear of the genuine encounter with the genuine difficulty that the genuine ambitious life most consistently produces at the edges of the genuine current capacity. The fear of the genuine mortality that the genuine reckoning with the finite requires. These fears are universal in their general form and completely individual in their specific expression. Every person inhabits their own specific, personal, completely individual landscape of the specific fears that most consistently prevent the most genuinely valuable expressions of the genuine self from being genuinely expressed. The facing of the personal fear is not the dramatic, heroic, audience-seeking confrontation with the feared thing in the conditions of maximum visibility. It is the specific, private, completely interior practice of the person who is genuinely interested in what the fear is actually telling them, and genuinely committed to the genuine engagement with what the fear is protecting against, in the specific, honest, completely personal quality of the examined self, rather than in the specific public, audience-confirming quality of the performance of courage. Epictetus was the most direct about this. He said that the person who has not genuinely faced their own specific fear, who is managing around it rather than genuinely through it, is the person who is not yet free in the specific, complete, genuinely Stoic sense of the word. Because the fear that has not been genuinely faced continues to govern from the interior, producing the specific, recurring, genuinely limiting patterns of avoidance that the person is experiencing as the reasonable management of the genuine risk, rather than as the specific, interior, completely real governance of the unexamined fear. Face the specific fear. In the genuine, patient, completely private quality of the honest self-examination that asks what the fear is actually telling you, not the comfortable management that converts the genuine encounter with the genuine fear into the sophisticated explanation of the reasonable caution. The eighth thing you must face alone is the specific, complete, genuinely honest assessment of your own love, the quality, the depth, the genuine authenticity of the care and the connection that you have been offering and receiving in the actual relationships of the actual life. Not the love as the performance, the specific, social, completely expected expressions of the care and the connection that the social environment has normalized and that are available to be produced without the genuine interior engagement that the genuine love requires. The genuine love. The specific, interior, completely non-performative quality of the genuine care for the specific, individual, completely real people who constitute the genuine community of the actual life.
The facing of this question, the specific, honest, completely interior assessment of whether the love being expressed is the genuine article or the socially competent performance of it, is one of the most consistently avoided and the most practically significant of the 9 battles. Because the genuine love, the specific, completely interior, genuinely engaged quality of the actual care for the actual people is the most demanding quality available. It requires the specific, vulnerable, completely unmanaged quality of the genuine presence with the genuine other, the willingness to be actually moved by the actual experience of the actual person, rather than the comfortable, managed, socially competent performance of the appropriate caring behavior. Most people in the honest facing of this question discover a gap between the love they have been performing and the love they have been genuinely giving, between the care that has been socially expressed and the care that has been genuinely felt, between the relationships that look like the genuine thing from the outside and the relationships that feel like the genuine thing from the inside. The facing of this gap is one of the most genuinely courageous acts available in the 9 battles, because the gap, once genuinely seen, requires the genuinely difficult, genuinely vulnerable, genuinely demanding quality of actually closing it, of moving from the performed love to the genuine love in the actual relationships with the actual specific people who are actually there. Thrasea had done this work. The accounts of his final hours describe a man who is surrounded by the people he had genuinely loved, not performed for, and who is expressing the genuine care for them in the specific, completely unmanaged quality of the person who had not saved the genuine love for the dramatic moment, but had been giving it daily, privately, in the ordinary moments of the ordinary life. Face the honesty of your love, not to condemn the performance that the honest facing reveals, to close the gap. In the specific, daily, completely available, ordinary moments where the genuine love is the most important and the most consistently available expression of the genuine values. The 9th and final thing you must face alone is the specific, complete, genuinely honest question of who you are becoming, the specific, daily, accumulating direction that the actual choices of the actual life are producing in the actual character of the actual self. Not who you intend to become, not who you would become if the circumstances were more favorable or the support were more reliable or the timing were better aligned. Who you are actually becoming,
right now in the specific, daily, completely ordinary choices that the actual life is producing as the specific, direct, completely honest consequence of the choices that have been made and are being made in the actual moments of the actual life. The Stoics were absolutely clear about this. The character is not the intention. The character is the accumulated pattern of the actual choices. And the actual choices, the specific, daily, completely individual decisions about how to respond to the specific, daily, completely ordinary circumstances of the actual life, are the specific, most immediately consequential, most completely available material from which the actual character is being continuously built. Who are you actually becoming?
Not the person you are planning to become when the circumstances improve, or the support arrives, or the timing aligns. The person the actual choices are building right now, in the actual circumstances, with the actual response to the actual situation. This question, genuinely, honestly, completely personally faced, is the ninth and the most important battle. Because it is the battle that determines the quality of the engagement with all 8 of the preceding ones. The person who has genuinely faced the darkness, the mortality, the honest account, the failure, the mediocrity, the loneliness, the fear, and the love, is the person who has been building, through the genuine facing of all 8, a specific, genuine, completely real quality of character. And the question of who that character is becoming in the specific, daily, completely ordinary choices of the actual life is the most important and the most continuously available question of the entire examined life. Marcus Aurelius asked himself this question every evening, not in the dramatic, grand, what is the meaning of my life quality of the question as it is sometimes posed. In the specific, practical, completely forward-looking quality of, what has the character that the specific choices of today have been building actually been building today, in the direction that the examined values have identified as genuinely worth building, or in the comfortable, accommodating, standard-lowering direction that the specific, daily, completely ordinary circumstances consistently make available. And from the honest answer, the specific, non-defensive, completely genuine assessment of the direction that today's choices have been building, the intention for tomorrow's choices. Face the question of who you are becoming, daily, in the honest, completely genuine, genuinely forward-looking quality of the person who is more interested in the accurate picture of the actual direction than in the comfortable management of the comfortable self-image. Because the accurate picture of the actual direction, however comfortable or uncomfortable the picture, is the specific, most foundational, most genuinely transformative information available for the guidance of the choices that are building the character that the 9 battles are building. The 9 battles, the darkness, the mortality, the honest account, the failure, the mediocrity, the loneliness, the fear, and the love, are fought alone, every day, in the specific, private, completely interior territory that no other person has genuine access to. And the quality of the engagement, the specific, daily, genuinely honest, completely genuine quality of the person who is actually fighting the battles rather than managing around them, is the quality of the character, the quality of the relationships, the quality of the work, the quality of the actual life. Thracia had fought them, daily, privately, without the audience to confirm the fighting. And when the death sentence arrived, when the most dramatic, the most consequential, the most externally visible moment of his life produced the specific, public, completely reported quality of his response, what the people present encountered was not the heroic performance of the composed philosophical death.
They encountered the genuine person, the specific, warm, completely genuine, entirely unmanaged quality of the person who had done the most difficult work already, in the private, interior, completely invisible battles that no one had seen, but that had produced everything that everyone was witnessing. The most difficult work, already done. Fight the 9 battles, daily, alone, in the specific, honest, genuinely engaged quality of the person who has decided that the most important work of the actual life is the work that only you can do. And let the genuine fighting of the 9 battles produce what only the genuine fighting of the 9 battles produces. The specific, warm, completely genuine, entirely unmanaged quality of the person who had done the most difficult work already. In the private, interior, completely invisible battles that no one had seen, but that had produced everything that everyone was witnessing. The most difficult work already done. Subscribe to the Stoic Mindset right now, because this channel is where the complete, honest, philosophically grounded, practically applicable practice of facing the 9 things that determine the entire quality of the actual life, the 9 battles that are fought alone in the private, interior, completely unwitnessed territory that no other person has genuine access to, is developed week after week with the full depth and the full honesty and the full practical weight that the Stoic tradition always brought to the most important available questions about what the genuinely excellent human life actually requires from the person who is genuinely committed to living it. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell notification so that every new lesson reaches you the moment it is released. Every week on this channel, we go all the way into the ancient wisdom that produced Thrasa and Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, people who fought the 9 battles daily, privately, without the audience, building the specific quality of character that the genuine, honest, completely interior engagement with the 9 things produces, and that nothing else can produce. The people who find this channel and stay are the people who have understood what Thrasa had done before the death sentence arrived, the most difficult work already done. In the private battles, the interior ones, the ones fought completely alone. Subscribe right now. Share this with someone who needs to understand that the quality of the visible life is the product of the quality of the invisible battles. Come back for the next lesson, because what we are doing here together is exactly what the 9 battles require. The daily, honest, completely genuine engagement with the interior territory that no one else can access and that only you can fight. Subscribe now.